Good afternoon, everybody, on this rainy, gray, unusual day in Medellin. I have here with me Jonas Occeus.
Hello.
Jonas is the father of twins recently, is co-owner of a dental practice with his wife, and is also the CEO of a successful solar company. And we've gotten to know each other through Nido Sky. Jonas is a very frequent guest and really has become a good friend to me over these last few months. So I'm really pleased to introduce everybody Jonas Occeus as one of the magical people of Nido Sky. How are you today, Jonas?
Listen, I'm well. Although, we're having a little, not the greatest weather, but it's definitely a pleasure to be here to sit down with you. So I'm great. Here's the thing. I'm at Nido, so I'm absolutely amazing.
Yeah, life is good at Nido.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So tell us about yourself, Jonas. Who you are, what you do.
Yeah. Sure. I think one thing is for many people to see the Jonas that I am now, but I guess I want to touch on the Jonas I was, right? Who was the Jonas before I am now? Well, I'm the first generation Haitian in my family. First to graduate from high school, go off to college. I was raised by a single mom who raised myself and my two sisters. And now looking back now, we were all raised in poverty, right? I was just speaking to a good friend of mine that I've known over 30 plus years ago. And we spoke about, the level of poverty that we were in. But what are the things we looked at?
The origin story.
Exactly, the origin story. Right. But that
biblical.
Yeah. So that shaped us for who we are now. So the Jonas now, again, as you said before, I am a father of two twin girls, husband, and CEO of a solar company. So I've been really blessed so far. So I'm excited about that.
And I know a little bit more of the Jonas backstory as well. He's a lawyer. And tell us a little bit more about your path, your journey from those difficult times, the early times of life, coming up through poverty, but getting yourself through university, and now you're a successful business guy.
Correct.
We're in the penthouse here at Nido Sky. So Jonas is making good.
So let's say a little about my background. So the thing that was important to me, although we were raised or born poor, right? I realized that did not define us. I've always wanted more, and I believe that I deserved more. And I've always looked at myself to I needed to be the one that would break the chain of poverty. So, I graduated from high school and didn't have the best of grades in high school. So I'll be very candid. And it wasn't because I wasn't smart. It's just school just became boring. So I barely graduated from high school. But there was a turning point in my life in 2003 where I was falsely arrested of armed robbery.
Oh, dang.
And I was looking at 15 years in prison.
Dang.
And I had
That's hard time.
Yeah. I had an attorney by the name of Jeff Quinn that took my case pro bono. And he fought the case. And he's like, look, I believe in you. I believe that you didn't do this. And I explained to him, I said, listen, when the officer arrested me, they came to the victim, they showed my face and said, is this him? And the victims were like, no, it's not him. The officer said, arrest his ass anyways. So gone away, I was in chain, locked up, the whole nine.
Corrupt cops.
Yeah, exactly. So fortunately, and it's what I do all the time, I get on my knees, I pray, and I ask God for guidance and, save me from this. And I was introduced to Attorney Jeff Quinn. He took my case. Long story short, the case got dismissed, and it was expunged. It got dismissed and expunged. And from then on, I said, you know what, God, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna become an attorney, and my goal is to use the law to change society for the better. So fast forward, I went to community college, graduated with a 3.8 GPA, went to Stetson University. Transferred from Stetson University to UCF. Stetson University was where I met my wife, and then went to UCF, graduated at 3.9 GPA.
Very good.
So I'll tell you a bit about this story. Then from there, I worked at a few different law firms prior to going to law school, and went to law school. And first and second year. And behind that, I'll tell you the thing on that end is I met an individual that showed me that he was making $100,000 a month in sales. And I was just like, he showed me the check and I was just like, look, what do you do? Right? And then He said, sales. And I was like, listen, I want to know more about that. And it was amazing because I remember sitting down in my criminology class, and I remember I was listening to Eric Thomas. And one year I had, the string cord over the AirPod or whatnot. And then I was listening to the professor, and Eric Thomas said, he said a quote, he said, if you truly want success, you must sacrifice who you are for who you want to become. And I just kept hearing that. I said, well, who do I want to become? I want to break the chain of poverty. All right, I have to be the one. I have to be the one that shows that I can come from here, rise, and then now I can truly be, it shows everyone that light, that hope.
Yeah.
And it was at that time, 2013, I left law school. So it was a law school dropout.
Hard right turn.
Yeah, I jumped into sales. In a week, I made my first 5,000, and the rest was history.
There you go.
So that's
impressive.
The story to it.
Yeah, and it's interesting how there's these little moments in life. You had a very strong motivation and a clear direction of what you wanted to achieve. Sounds like your North Star. It was very clear for you. But not necessarily the case that things are clear on what the path is, right? So you were in law school, and then you've met the sales guy, and then you make the hard right turn,
Right.
And now you're living in the penthouse at Nido, and you were just telling me before the interview about a random chance meeting that you had in the gym in Medellin.
Oh, yes.
Respect to your solar company.
Yeah, so I'll tell you this. First off, there's no place like Nido Sky. And I always have this, and I tell you this, right? So I've wandered off and tried a few of the other hotels and things like that, but it does not feel like home, right? And it doesn't have the layout, beautiful. Anyone I bring here, they're like, look, I absolutely love this, right? So thank you, right? for bringing that to fruition.
Yeah, well, you make something, you hope people like it, and it just means so much to us that you really do.
Yeah, I love it. So, so I recall, so not too long ago, I said probably about last month, and I was seeing this guy just on Instagram, very passionate about, changing people's lives financially and becoming their mentor and taking them to the next level. And I came across his Instagram probably about a year even before that. But then right before coming to Medellin, his video crossed me again. It's like, okay. Flew in, and it was a day that I said, you know what? I don't feel like going to the gym. But something was like, you know what? Go to the gym. Went to the gym. And as I walk in, I walk past, I look to the left, and I see him. His name is Wesley.
There he is.
$1 Million Virgin. So I walk up to him and I said, listen, are you Wesley $1 Million Virgin? He said, yes, I am. I was like, wow. I said, this is crazy. I was like, listen, I was just following you on Instagram, the whole nine. And I said, listen, I want to pick your brain. I want to talk with you. I want to work out with you. And that changed everything for him, right?
Right.
And he told me about his background, very similar background, and what he's done, and making several hundred million in his company on $1 billion run, which he said, look, I'll be able to hit that in the next 2 years. We'll have $1 billion valuation.
It's a lot of zeros.
Yeah. And he said, and he asked me something. He said, Jonas, what are you making now? What do you want to make? And I said, well, listen, my goal is to, making 6 figures a month and to teach other people how to do the same thing. I've made 6 figures a month. Now I'm on a 6-figure a week run. And he sat back, he said, why aren't you aiming higher? And I said, what do you mean? He said, why don't you aim for $1 million net a month and then $100 million?
Wow.
And
go big.
Yeah, right? He's like, go big. He's like, what are you going small for? And I froze, right?
There's no limit on your dreams.
Yeah, right?
Ambition has no fence.
Exactly. And he asked me that, and I took a couple of seconds. I couldn't even respond. I said, well, I just never thought that big. That was exactly what it was. I didn't think I could even go that big. And he said, Jonas, it's not about the money. Think about the opportunities that you can provide others, and think about the lives that you can change with that.
Right.
And, he worked out and he gave me some more advice and things of that sort. At the 2-day workout, he talked to me about, and I asked him the key thing. I said, listen, let me ask you, what is the key thing? If you look at success, was the key thing that you would say? He said, among, applying action and believing in yourself, he said, one of the key thing I would say is you have to meditate. Whatever it is that you believe you can achieve, meditate on that and believe and go after it. But you got to meditate.
Right.
Right? And he said, you have to be a leader. Another thing, he said, you must become a leader in all aspects of your life.
Right.
Right? So I went home and I wrote it down. I said, look, I'm gonna shoot for 100 million. And I remember just getting on my knees. I prayed about it, wrote it down, started believing. I said, listen, I'm gonna go after this. And here's what's crazy. I showed you the photo of the Zoom call we were on. And I just sit down and I asked God, I said, listen, God, partner me up with individuals in the solar industry that are 100% committed, and for us to be able to build a $100 million opportunity.
Right.
Right? Flew to Utah. We had a SolarCon event. Long story short, everything fell into place. Now we're launching what's called the Empower Network, which is truly, it will revolutionize the industry. Like, this will be an industry game changer. And now we were just on the phone with our executive team. There's no reason why we shouldn't, within our first year, we should be able to hit 100 million, shoot for that point.
Wow. And
in 5 years, we put a game plan together that we'll shoot for $1 billion.
Oh, that's awesome. And if for the solar folks watching this, how would they reach out to you? They're fitting that.
Well, definitely.
Slot.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter where you are, right? If you're in America, outside the country, in Medellin, I'll tell you, contact me, DM me on my Instagram is I am Jonas Occeus. You look me up on Facebook, Jonas Occeus, and DM me and I'll provide you with a link so you can hear more about the opportunity. So looking forward for you guys contacting me. Thank you.
Yeah. So what is it about you've got a lot of drive, you've got a lot of character, like good, solid foundation, right? What is it about you, perhaps, that's more, well, is there anything else about you that you think makes you kind of born to this? Or do you think it's not even a born to it thing? Do you think it's more your path in life is something that you came onto and you're like, oh, that's my path? Yeah.
So if you're speaking in relative to the drive, right?
Yeah, it could be something inside of you that gives you your calling to become good at this thing, and then that thing was clear to you, or maybe, what is it about you that makes you good at this?
So, I always give thanks to God, right? So I wouldn't be where I'm at without, the man up above. And I got my best friend here, right? Who's known me over 30 plus years. I was raised me and my sister were raised in a mobile home, and which is a trailer, and on a dirt road. And I just remember as a child, it would have like rodents, snakes, you name it. And but my mom always worked extremely hard, right? I always say dark 30 in the morning to dark 30 at night, 6 a.m. past 6 p.m. And then from there, she's worked in the agricultural field, picking tomatoes, watermelon in the hot sun. And then from there, started working in hotels, right? And those tips would help us out. So seeing that, I just got to a point, just as a young child, I said, listen, I want different. I have to be the one that changes that. One, right, to be able to reprieve my mother from the struggles of life, right? And I just had a burning desire to be able to live the life that I feel that we deserve. And I think what ultimately changed is when I went to college and being able to see the other side, right? I had a friend of mine to where we were able to go see how they live, which is the high rise and living, on beachfront and, valet parking, the whole night. I wasn't used to any of that. So when I seen that, I was like, look, this is possible.
Right. This exists. This
exists, right?
Yeah,
so
I can do that.
Yeah. How do I achieve that? Like, what's the path to achieve that? And I'm going all out for it because I know through me that whether it's my family, friends, the whole nine, now I can be the one that be able to experience that. So it's like, what drives that is being a young man, and my mother raising me, my father wasn't in the home, and it was just, I watched the struggles, right? And I watched it and I said, listen, I have to be the one that changes that. So anytime I slack off or anything of that sort, I would always, just speaking to a good buddy of mine, I was seeing it every couple months or so, I'll drive by that dirt road, that mobile home, and say, look, this is where we were at. And that's
Right.
actually, that's what continued to drive. It's seeing my mom go through those struggles.
Yeah. Keeps us real.
Exactly. 100%.
And so having had that, this incredible life experience, I mean, it's incredible what you've done so far.
Yeah. Thank you.
What would you say are the most important life lessons? If somebody was to say, hey, give me 3 life lessons, make them punchy.
Yeah. So the Jonas you see now, it's successful, the whole 9, but there's a quote, I think Les Brown states it. He said, listen, that you will fail your way to success, right? So I think most individuals understand is that failure is part of the process. It's all part of the journey.
Yep.
So there's no, you don't lose, there's just lessons that you learn.
Right, yes,
So
absolutely.
I'd say, fall hard and fail as quickly as possible.
Right.
Through those are where you're going to learn
Right.
your opportunities to get to the next level. And I believe that
Yeah.
that's what separates those who are successful and those who aren't, right? When you face the adversity, the obstacles, it's like you have 2 choices, right? You're either going to quit and say, look, I can't do this. You get to this point. Let's just say you want to get here. You get right here and you say, well, look, I've gone through this. I went broke. I've lost everything. Although I want this goal. And you got 2 decisions. When life hits, because life will hit hard, what do you do? What do you do when you're faced with that adversity? Those who don't achieve success, they fall back, they quit.
Right.
But those that push through that
Right.
and realize, look, there's no question. You just have to have this burning desire to win
Right.
and not give up.
Sort of face your fears, and when life kicks you down, just get back up again.
Get back up. You just keep at it.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah. So I was on.
You must feel like pretty, when you look back, when you drive by the motor, the trailer home,
Yeah.
when you kind of look back at the roots, you must feel pretty good about it. I mean,
thank you for that.
It's impressive.
I do, but it's very short, right? I do reserve short. Why do I say that? Is because it's one thing for me to be able to go through that and experience it. But when I sit back, I think to myself, who else have I impacted to be able to, so they could change their lives that way? So I always look at it and say, well, you know what? Yes, I'm thankful, for everything. I look back and say, man, I've done it, but it's that mindset of job's not done.
Right.
Why? Because it's who else have I blessed to be able to help go through that same thing?
Yeah. Well, you're a young man.
Yeah.
So a lot more adventure in you.
A lot more adventure. It's true.
Yeah. So, and how did you come to Nido? Tell us a little bit about how you got to Nido and
wow.
what you think about the place and call it a wrap.
Yeah. So, it's very interesting. So, it's a buddy of mine. His name is Rufus McDonald, and
the legendary Rufus.
Yeah.
Who has also stayed here many times, but I've never met him.
So he stayed here. Then he gave me a call and said, listen, I'm in Medellin. And he was like, look, you got to come down here. So the first thing I thought when he said that, I was just like, man, the cartel and all this, right? What you think of,
the
right?
news, the headlines.
And he said, I was like, yo, so where are you staying? And he said, well, I'm staying at Nido Sky. He's like, listen, and he just raved about it. He said, man, it's beautiful. You have the whole open concept one time. I mean, he just went and explained everything. I was like, all right. Well, I'm coming. I said, well, another buddy of mine told me to stay somewhere else.
Right.
And I was like, all right. So we came down, flew in, and he said, Jonas, just come and take a look at the place.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Check it out.
Come check it out. So I come, I check out the place, and I'm like, all right, well, this is nice.
This works.
And I said, well, let me go check this other place out, right? And went and checked out the other place, and I was like, all right, that's nice. I was like, but Nido is just different. Not only is it nice on all levels, but it's just once you walk in, first off, once you walk through the building and you go to the reception, right, at the front desk, the welcome, I think that's what's huge, right? makes you feel welcome. They treat you like family.
Pies of hospitality.
And also
Friendly people.
Yeah, exactly. Super friendly. And also making sure that your security is at the highest level, right?
Yeah,
So that's important. Then when you get into the elevators open up to the unit, priceless. And once you walk in, it just hits you. So, which is why I come back every time I'm here, I book here. And any friends and family, I make sure they book at Nido as well.
There's been a lot.
Yeah.
Jonas knows a lot of people.
It's true.
Yeah, so we feel very blessed and fortunate to have you as a guest.
Thank you.
Appreciate talking and learning a little bit more of your life story.
Thank you.
You've done really well for yourself, and we're looking forward to your future stories and successes and all of the lives that you're going to impact in incredible positive ways.
Well, Justin, I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, let's talk to you. Let's start.
Right.
We're not done yet.
Okay.
We'd like to hear about you.
Sure.
What sparked this? How did you come about this?
Well, I have always enjoyed design and making things, but I was a management consultant for a long time, which is a very, quantitative analytical thing. And I had got to the point where I had kind of, put enough bank together to not have to do that anymore. I think as humans, change is a really powerful, motivating thing. And so you're doing something, you've enjoyed it, and then comes the moment to follow your passion, your dream, or some people have a lot of passions. And for me, always design was one of them. So started designing apartments, and the first one I did in Vancouver just did really, really well. This Airbnb was pretty new, and because it was on Airbnb, all of these famous companies started using it for commercials, and then it was in a Netflix series and all of these things. And, they were finding it through Airbnb. And I remember the first national TV commercial it was used in, I went to the shooting and I asked, why this apartment? And they were like, because it just really hits kind of the vibe. It was kind of what they imagined their customers would aspire to live in. And so I kind of got the feeling that my taste, other people liked my taste. It wasn't just my taste, it was something that other people shared. And so then I did some more apartments, and they all did really well. And then I came to Medellin, and I did an apartment here, and then I thought, okay, now I'm ready to do a building. Because I always wanted to do a building where the architecture was integral to the design. It wasn't just, another apartment, cookie cutter, concrete box in the sky, and then you paint some walls and buy some furniture. No, I wanted the architecture to be fundamental to the design. And so you have to build the building to do that kind of integration. And fortunately, here in Medellin, things all just came really, it was kind of like meeting, for me, it was kind of one of those moments like you meeting your mentors.
Yeah.
Everything just fell into place. And looking backwards, it all makes sense. But at the time, it was just this incredible coincidence in that kind of intersection of a city that was just on the bubble. It was just starting. And I love the city. I came here 8 years ago for 3 days, and that was 8 years ago. Right? There was no plan. I just really love the city. And then, it's a developing country. So perhaps because of the history, the violence, it's cheap to build here. So, okay, here I could build my building. And that's kind of where it all started. And, it was a lot of work. It was several years, about 12 hours a day, literally on the building site.
Wow.
And I learned so much, but ultimately it was exactly the adventure I wanted, you know, and like you with the solar business, it was just these things lined up and came together, and I thought, yeah, this is great.
And here we are.
And hopefully there's more buildings in the future. Really love to keep building.
We're looking forward to the next project.
Yeah, I got to show you some of the renders. I've already got some concept renders, but we need the land. So that's another chapter, and hopefully we'll share that and update everybody on that.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
I need to do a quick clip. Hold on.
Okay.
You guys can go up if you need to. Eggy's gonna get a massage.
All right. Yeah, just go for it.
I'm gonna have her.
Yeah, good. How are you?